Coming up on tonight's episode, we're talking the fun ways people spend their time getting a little hands-on. Cross-stitch, quilting, painting, it's all kinds of arts and crafts hobbies here on a special Up for Debate. This is Up for Debate, episode number 126, recorded October 18th, 2018. Arts and Crafts. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate, the debate podcast where the two hosts agree on everything. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by our master crafter. It is Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Hey, how are we doing, Mr. Sean?
I'm doing great. We're here exercising our craft, which is podcasting to the world.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess that is kind of like our craft.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly just talking, but we do that.
Yeah.
We know how to do that. So I know you now, Matt, you pitched this topic, so I'm sure you're very excited.
Yeah. I think it's a fall thing, you know. I know we've talked ad nauseum on this show about how much we enjoy the fall, all the fall things. And to me, arts and crafts just kind of resonates fall. So I don't know about you, Sean, but I have to admit something here. I was never really a big arts and crafts person.
Sure.
I was always really envious growing up, you know, even as a kid, I was always really envious of the other kids that were good at arts and crafts and could make things. And I was always envious of my teachers that were able to put things together. And I was just never really able to do that. I think my problem was impatience. I was not a patient kid, and you have to be really patient to be crafty, I think. You agree with that?
Oh, totally. No. They're more exciting hobbies than arts and crafts, put it that way. I mean, I think it's for a certain type of personality that really gets into that, and it works well for them. So I'm glad about that. I mean, Matt, you know, it's funny. This is a true story, and you're a teacher, so maybe you appreciate this. But I used to enjoy arts and crafts a lot. I wouldn't say I was particularly great at them, but I was always willing to try them and try something new and all different kinds of arts and crafts. And I took an art class in middle school, and I worked really, really hard on this drawing for an assignment, and I put way more work into it than anyone else in the class because I was just getting excited about the assignment, and I thought the drawing was really, really great. I was super proud of it, and the teacher gave me an F, Matt. The teacher gave me an F on it because the assignment was not to put a lot of work, not that the assignment was purposefully not to put a lot of work, but I just did more work than was needed, and the teacher failed me because of it.
Wow, Sean, that
100% true story. And ever since then,
I think that's how serial killers are made. That's like
it
really
killed my
sad.
interest in arts and crafts completely at that point, and I just kind of gave up on arts and crafts. So to think, Matt, if that hadn't happened,
oh, you could have been like an Etsy pro. Could have been at a store on Etsy.
I could have been a comic book artist. I could have been famous. You know,
the sky is the limit.
But my career ended tragically.
So let's unpack this a little bit. I find this really fascinating, Sean. How did your teacher fail you specifically for doing too much work?
Because the assignment was to do a simple drawing, and mine was very detailed, so it didn't match the assignment.
Did your teacher feel like you were being defiant?
No. She wasn't angry about it. It was just the assignment was to do a simple drawing, and then we would move on to something else, and you just did not follow the assignment.
See, I don't think there's ground. What grade were you in?
This was middle school, so probably sixth or seventh.
I don't think there's grounds enough to.
No,
to
she
fail
was.
you on that.
You know, all kids think their teachers are lunatics. She was a literal lunatic. So, even for a middle school teacher. So yeah, she was not very sane.
That sounds like something an unhinged person would do is fail a child for doing too much work on an assignment.
Yep. I wish I still had that drawing somewhere. I think I threw it away. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to it. Not that it was that great, but for the story of it.
I wonder if maybe she was trying to motivate you. Maybe she was trying to
break me down so she could build me back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, what's that movie with J. Jonah Jameson and uh, he's uh, he's
Whiplash.
like the yes,
And
Whiplash. That is
it's
exactly the
not
movie
J.
I'm
Jonah
thinking of.
Jameson. It's but that's how I got the reference. Who's the actor?
Yes,
Oh
I
no.
love that. I just mentioned a character he played in a movie,
Well, because
and you knew exactly the comparison I was trying to make.
I'm gonna be so mad when I read his name. J.K. Simmons. That's who it is.
J.K. Simmons,
Who
yes, in
great as J. Jonah
Whiplash.
Jameson, by the way. That's
Yes,
an all-time great
perfect.
performance.
Get me pictures of
So Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I need pictures.
He's got to bring
Um,
that back in the new movie.
his have you heard of his character, by the way, in the new Spider-Man video game?
Yeah, isn't he?
Apparently they turned him into like an Alex Jones like figure where he's Spider-Man's a menace. And he's
There's
kind of like
uranium in our water.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like profiteering off of Spider-Man, but also like is afraid of him at the same time. It's an interesting new take on the character.
I can't fault him. The newspaper industry ain't doing well, so you got to do what you got to do to stay alive
Right.
here. So,
What's the name of the newspaper in the Spider-Man
ooh, this
universe?
is fun trivia. It's the Daily
Yeah.
Bugle.
Okay, yes,
The
you're
Daily Bugle.
yeah. Not to be confused with the Daily Planet, right?
Very
That's
different.
Superman's newspaper.
different.
Which one do you think is more successful?
Daily Planet. I think the only reason why is because I think the Bugle is meant to be more like a New York Daily News kind of, a little more gossipy, a little more kind of scandal, big headlines on the cover. Whereas I think Daily Planet is more of like a New York Times.
Okay.
Is my
so
guess.
more editorialized and researched, you would say, is the Daily Planet.
Yes.
And Daily Bugle is kind of just reporting events, in the city, in New York City. Okay.
But now I'm trying to remember. Supergirl works at a magazine.
Does she?
Yes, I think it's a magazine that I'm trying to think that. Yes. It's in the TV show Catco magazine. Anyway.
Okay. See, going back to the difference, I would have said that Daily Bugle is a more credible source, only just given the merits of the two characters we know, the two superheroes rather, the two protagonists we know that work for either newspaper. I just flat out think that Peter Parker is better at his job than Clark Kent. I think that Peter Parker's probably a more dogged, like hardworking kid who's trying to scrape by. He's like a poor grad student who is like trying to pay his student loans, but then again, the responsibilities are different, right? Because he's a photographer.
Well, I was going to say, what's the name of the character in Superman who Jimmy Olsen is like Peter Parker at the Daily Planet?
Okay.
In that universe.
Meaning that he's the photographer, or meaning that he's the hardworking employee?
Kind of both, kind of like just under
Okay.
Superman, kind of assistant-esque, but also photographer, kind of doing all that stuff.
Okay, I didn't even know this character existed.
Yeah,
I'm not that well versed in Superman.
And
gotta
then
be honest.
who's Perry White, I think, is the name of the gentleman, the J. Jonah Jameson level character in Superman, though certainly they're not similar.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the two of them, the reason I have to give a little bit of crap to Clark Kent is I mean, he's always leaving his job, right? He's always like getting up, he senses danger and he flies away or goes
Sure.
to the phone booth to change. And I feel like it's got to be really tough on him to maintain that job, and got to be really tough on his superiors too. I mean, he just keeps deserting them. I mean, imagine if like they're behind schedule and the deadline is at midnight and everybody has to work overtime. And where's Clark Kent? Oh, he's nowhere to be found. Oh,
Yeah, but
clearly the most unreliable employee.
But isn't part of your job as a reporter to go out and collect? If you're a reporter and you're sitting inside all day, you're probably not doing your job completely.
Well-
and the advantage Superman has is he's always at the crime scene. Like, he has a first-hand account of what happened. So he is kind of doing his job, assuming he's writing about the things he's doing. Like,
Well, we
if he's
also have to assume he's a reporter, right? I don't actually know that. He might be an editor.
but
We could easily look that up.
which I'm going to do right now. But what I was going to say is, I would be more interested in. Let's see. Yeah, it says he's a reporter for the Daily Planet.
Okay.
Oh, it says right here in the Wikipedia. Everything about Clark was staged for the benefit of his alternate identity. As a reporter for the Daily Planet, he receives late-breaking news before the general public, has a plausible reason to be present at crime scenes, and need not strictly account for his whereabouts as long as he makes his stories deadlines.
So yeah, so that really is the best job
It does
for
make
him.
the only thing is I think it would be very funny if he were a reporter, but like he was on the sports beat or something, like lifestyle. He did like the lifestyle section, and you're like, that totally defeats the purpose, buddy.
Yes.
Be like, where's your article
that
on?
means he's, yeah, totally being underutilized. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Fun fact: J. Jonah Jameson's son, John Jameson, famous astronaut in the Marvel universe, who became Man-Wolf and later Star God. So, anyway.
Star God.
Star God. I know who Man-Wolf is. I don't know who Star God is.
Is it like Star Lord? Star Lord we know about from the Marvel universe.
No, I don't think that's related. Let's see. Man-Wolf for scrolling past. No, I don't know. It would, by the time I looked it up, it wouldn't be worth it.
Okay. Fair enough.
But he did go to the moon and become a werewolf on the moon. Becoming Man-Wolf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Yep.
# comic book things.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So what other superhero jobs do we know about? We know Clark Kent being a reporter. We know Spider-Man being a photographer / grad student.
The Flash was a scientist. But
Was he?
But that was not like, it's not really a secret. The thing about secret identity is, like, Superman, it's kind of weird because you have to, it's about people who are born with powers versus people who get them. Because if you get powers, like, you're already in that career when you get the superpowers. You know what I mean? Like, the Flash was a scientist. That's how he got the power. So it's not really his secret
Same
identity.
with the Hulk. Yeah, it's the Hulk too, right? He was a physicist.
Yeah, Bruce Banner. So it's to me, it's like that's not really a secret identity. That's just who you are. But I guess Superman didn't really. I guess Clark Kent is invented, but he was Clark Kent his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he had to have a job so people wouldn't question what he did all day. He also had to earn income. To be honest, I don't think nobody's got Superman on the payroll.
That's true. He
So
should have like a GoFundMe or something.
He probably should. He probably should get some kind of stipend from Public Works since he basically is Public Works. I don't know.
I mean, Tony Stark is just a rich guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, he made his money. He's probably the only one that made his money, like made his mint before becoming a superhero.
But to be fair, a lot of that was his daddy's money too. Remember, who started Stark Industries? So
totally, he was born with a silver spoon.
He was, but he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. I mean, Doctor Strange, famous surgeon.
You got
Captain America.
Captain America was a soldier. Special ops.
Yeah, again, they really don't do truly secret. I guess secret identities would be like Bruce Wayne as Batman. Like that's a real secret identity to me.
Yeah, he was also a millionaire who inherited money.
That's true.
Much like Iron Man.
Yes, they are interestingly similar, aren't they?
They really are. They really are, and yet, why have they never done a crossover?
Different. Marvel and DC have done crossover events before. I don't know if those two specific characters have met.
You know that's going to be the next thing. I foresee it happening.
I don't know.
I think after they tie up this Thanos thing, I think people are gonna be looking for, okay, what are they gonna do now? Because I think they're gonna peter out after like a movie or two after the next movie.
No, I like the crazy crossovers, like when they did Planet of the Apes meets Star Trek, or when they do like I want crossovers with non-super. I want Scooby-Doo to show up in a Marvel movie.
You want Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters, or
yes, I do.
Scooby-Doo meets Kiss, or
yes, but I want that for Marvel. So
Scooby-Doo meets Kiss meets Laurel and Hardy,
and then like the Ghostbusters show up, and you're like, this is the best movie ever! Holy shit!
You want those Saturday morning crossovers?
I do. The Mr. T's there, and it's just a fun time for the kids.
Yep. Indeed. Speaking of fun times, let's talk arts and
Arts and
crafts.
crafts, man. We just spent 15 minutes on things that aren't arts and crafts. But I guess comic books are kind of an art.
Um, no, you're right about that. You're right. Definitely, that's. I mean, they're graphic novels.
So then let me ask you a question, Matt, okay? Let's
Okay.
say,
Okay.
in a hypothetical, you had all the time and resources in the world to devote to an art or a craft, okay? And you got to choose
Yeah.
what one. What one would you like to become really good at? Would you like to spend your time doing, assuming sort of unlimited resources?
Okay. This is where I think we have to solidify the definition
Fair
of
enough.
crafting.
Fair enough.
Because if you're saying I had unlimited resources and unlimited time and money,
Yep.
it would be being a blacksmith. I would own my own forgery, and I would probably forge jewelry and weapons, like like swords and shields and stuff, and a lot of jewelry. I'd probably smith a lot of jewelry and stuff like that. I also would like to get into crafting like musical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a cool thing. Making like violins out of wood, guitars out of wood. I think that would be a really really neat hobby. But that's a really expensive hobby too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's probably what I'd get into. I think that'd be kind of cool. Um, how about you, Sean? What would your hobby be?
Um,
Crafting hobby.
I would I would love to paint. I think painting would be. I'm going to keep it simple because mostly I can't have a hobby where I'm going to hurt myself. And blacksmithing, guarantee
Yeah,
I would lose most, if not all, of my fingers.
that's why you got to wear those thick gloves, right? They wear those really really thick gloves. Keep the lava out.
Yeah, no, it's dangerous stuff. So I'm going to just pass on that. But I'm going to go with
Stick
painting
with painting. Okay.
because for me a good art or craft is very zen. It's very quiet. There, you can't name a loud and exciting art and or craft.
Well, I just did. It's blacksmithing. I guess
Well,
that'd probably be
yeah,
loud,
I think
right?
we're stretching the definition a
Banging on things with
smidge.
hammers, and that's totally what I would do.
You probably picked the most badass one. Most of them I think of are quiet, and that's what I like. Is just quiet. Maybe photography, maybe a little bit, but I think that's kind of basic. I think nowadays that's not really a as interesting of an art because it's so, I don't want to say easy to pick up, but at least technologically and kind of it's easy to start. So I'd say painting. I've always wanted to just get a canvas and try, but problem is I have Matt. The biggest stumbling block to me getting into an art and a craft is that I have zero imagination. None. I just don't have any. So I would get the paint and I would get the canvas and I'd be like, what am I gonna paint? I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know what to do.
You
And
don't.
I
You
just start
wouldn't.
putting paint and it would look like shit. So
I think most artists probably start with some kind of inspiration. Maybe you get like a paint by numbers kit and start there,
that's probably what I would have to do.
and yeah, and then kind of get inspired from there. That's what I would guess. Painting would be probably one of the last ones that I pick personally because I'm really terrible at it.
Sure.
I would have horrible flashbacks of art in middle school where like I just my all of my paintings look like a friggin' 5-year-old did them,
Yep.
like a 4-year-old maybe. I never really progressed beyond the finger painting stage. That's kind of where I stopped.
Hey man, if monkeys can do it, why not us?
Yeah, they could. A monkey could probably paint better than me at almost. You create almost anything. Which yeah, I mean that kind of has been my thing with crafting is it does require a lot of focus and a lot of patience. And maybe that's why blacksmithing or making stuff out of wood kind of interests me more because it is precise and it does require a hell of a lot of focus because if it didn't you'd chop your finger off and um but maybe that appeals to me more because there's just like I'd have to get my entire body into it
Sure.
and like really throw myself at it. Um, Sean, do you consider baking to be a art or craft?
I don't, but I would understand if someone else did.
Okay,
I have a
because
very limited view of arts. Like blacksmithing to me wouldn't be an art and craft.
really,
Yeah, I have a very narrow view. I would say maybe blacksmithing just barely gets in under the wire, but it's definitely the fringe of arts and crafts.
interesting, interesting. Um, I disagree. I think that I'd consider it a craft because you're crafting things, right? You're making
Yeah,
you're literally. I think it might be the best term, like the most maybe the most truest to the nature of what a craft is because you're crafting.
no, I think it's
Like
its own thing. I don't think you
you're
have to
taking
put it
something from
under.
nothing and making it something.
I don't think you have to put it
But I
under
don't
arts
know.
and crafts, though. Is what I'm saying. I just think it's baking its own. Is its own. It's like there's arts and crafts, and then there's baking. Like it doesn't.
Okay. Oh, baking. We're talking. Okay, baking.
Oh, wait, isn't that what you
Yeah.
said?
Oh no, I was talking about smithing or blacksmithing before. I did. That's true.
Ah,
I did ask you if you consider baking an arts or craft.
I stuck with that one.
I
No,
was
no,
I
no,
was
no.
advocating for smithing,
I hear you.
but I could probably understand more why you might think that's not within the spirit of crafting. But I would say it could be a craft. You know, especially if you're getting into more artisanal baking
Sure.
and making displays and like cakes, and they have all those cake shows and
I guess my difference is, and it's true with baking and with blacksmithing, is that if it's the arts parts of arts and crafts. To me, if you're making tools, that's not you're making a practical, useful item. It's not art. If you're baking, you're making something to be eaten. Now, I realize there is an elevated form of that. There is a decorative form of that. But to me, for it to be an art and craft, you are making it solely for the purpose of display, solely for the purpose of art.
oh, interesting. Okay. I think that there are some occasions where you might bake something solely for the purpose of display, right? Where you don't intend for it to be
Yeah,
eaten.
but it's made
It's
of
rare,
food.
but it does happen.
I mean, it will go bad. Are you a fan of those big crazy baking shows, Matt? Where
The
the
only
extreme cake challenge?
No, I hate all of them. The only one I
What?
really like, is it might surprise you. It's the Great British Baking Show
Yeah,
on Netflix.
I
I
hear
love it.
I hear that's pretty popular.
It's fantastic. That one is fantastic because I think that everybody there is there for the right reasons, and they're just so they're just so non-competitive that they're there to have a genuine good time baking these traditional British foods,
Mm-hmm.
and I love them for it. It just I that's a nice show. It's just a nice show. The Great British Baking
Yeah,
Show.
yeah. The only competitive baking show that I watch and really enjoy is Nailed It. Have you seen that one on Netflix?
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Just because they fail.
not bad.
That's
Yeah,
like
it's
I get
funny.
people to me like, oh, you made a big cake, ooh, neat. But like, if you screw up a big cake, then I'm like, that's friggin' hilarious.
Oh yeah, the harder they fail, like the more extreme they fail, the funnier it is.
Yep.
Like the further away from the mark they get.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that great clip from one of the extreme baking shows years and years ago where they made a giant Dora the Explorer cake. Have you ever seen this?
No.
Oh, this
No, I
is
haven't.
if you have a chance, look it up. It's got to be. I mean, her Dora the Explorer's head has to be huge on top of this thing, and the final step in the challenge, when the timer's done, is you have to pick up the cake and move it to the judges' table. Well, of course, once you know it, they pick it up, and Dora's giant head just falls and explodes into a million pieces on the floor. Just boom, like a bomb went
Nice.
off. There's just cake ever. It's so just her head just wobbles and then tunk.
Falls
That's-
right off.
it's
And
great.
what show is this on?
I don't remember. It was one of the Food Network
Okay.
baking cake, cake wars or something like that. But
So, if I just said Dora the Explorer head, cake head.
I watched this years ago, so I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it is out there.
It is Dora the Explorer cake disaster was the first thing that came
Yep.
up. It was on the Mystery Wheel of Food Challenge is the name of
the
the
Mystery Wheel of Food Challenge.
appears to be the name of the show, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll take your
I
word
don't
for it.
even
I
know.
guess.
I don't even know if it was a U.S. show or not. But anyway, that's off topic. Um, but no, I don't like to see people arts fail. Man,
Oh,
did you ever go to like?
the head just fell right off.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Oh,
Those people worked real hard on that thing,
they're
man.
devastated. They're
It's
clearly
devastating.
devastated. Yeah.
Now, Matt, have you ever gone to art fairs?
I have. Yes. Yes. I've been to a few. Yeah. Nothing like too professional. I've been to like little local craft fairs, um, at schools and libraries and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love art fairs. I'll go to art
Yeah.
fairs all day long. That's totally my jam
Hmm.
because I love
Yeah.
looking at
Those
the
are
art.
nice. Those are nice. There's one person that I encountered at I haven't been to one. I got to get to one this year, but I haven't been to one yet. Now's the perfect time to do it. Last year I went to an art fair, and this lady was doing leather engravings. Where you could like she would take like pieces of leather and engrave stuff on them. I thought that was really cool.
Neat.
I kind of wanted to get into that. Yeah. Um, that's not a bad hobby too. I asked her, like, I talked to her about it, and she was like, all I had to do was I bought this like laser engraver, and pieces of leather are usually pretty cheap. She's like, I order the style of leather or whatever I want, and then she makes the engravings. She says she makes a pretty decent profit off of it.
Oh, I believe it.
So and that's something you could easily do in your own home. It doesn't take up a lot of space. She said that this engraving machine only really takes up like half of a desk. And she said the only trick is that you have to have really steady hands. And she was an army surgeon, so
Oh,
she got that from yeah, it was very cool little hobby. Yeah.
it is neat how technology has really sort of enabled hobbies you couldn't have done before. Most people couldn't have done. Whenever I go on Etsy or a site like that, and I see, people make this and they make that, and it's like, well, all you have to do is go out and buy $1,000 wood carving machine, and you can pump these things out no problem, because the technology has shrunken and become more mainstream. And you can spend $500 now, go get an embroidery machine, just keep it in your house, and pump out embroidered towels or embroidered shirts. It's become so commoditized in that respect. Assuming you're willing to put in the initial investment.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like anything else with modern technology and how the degree to which it's advanced in recent years. It's kind of taking the skill right out of arts and crafting. But I think there is something to be said for handmade goods.
Sure.
There will always be a market for that. Hence the success of places like Etsy and other websites. People nowadays, I mean, people also, you can just make your own website and kind of sell things off of there.
Totally. I bought a lot of fun stuff online. I bought these dope circuit board coasters. Someone just makes these in their house. They're actual circuit boards in some kind of clear resin.
Nice. Yeah. And see, somebody had to have that idea, and that's a cool idea.
The reason I bought it because I thought I could fucking make these. How hard is this?
Good.
And someone already did it.
You absolutely could.
But
Sean, I think the first thing that always comes into my mind when I think of arts and crafts,
yeah,
for some reason, I always think of knitting. Or
knitting.
crocheting, or making things out of like wool.
Sure.
Does that ever cross your mind when you think of? I mean, that's just, to me, that's just the first thing that pops into my head.
Yeah, I would say that is a kind of base level. I would kind of squeeze quilting in there, those sort of crochet and all those. Yeah, I would say those are kind of your base level arts and crafts. Your default, sure. Yeah, I would agree with that.
You remember lanyard?
Do you remember what?
Was lanyard ever a big deal at your school?
I have
lanyard.
I don't think I know what you're talking about.
So I thought, okay, I'm clearly in the wrong on this. I thought that this was a I thought that this was a generational thing. I thought maybe this was like a fad that came and went, but maybe it was just in my where I grew up. I remember the kids always went crazy for this thing called lanyard. Not like lanyard where you put your keys on, which is the only thing that Google Images is showing me.
Okay.
It was literally like, damn, yeah, I can't find it. It was really just like this thin plastic that you could tie it into knots and
Oh,
stuff. It was a big thing
yes.
for a couple of years. It was a big fad.
Yes, 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 yes. I
People
do
did like
know.
tricks with it and stuff,
Yeah,
and you
my
could trade
sister did. My
lanyards.
sister did some of that.
I I'm having trouble finding it now. All I can find are lanyards for like badge
I
holders.
think so. I'm googling a little bit here, and I think if you Google plastic lace,
Okay,
you might find a little bit more of what you're looking for. There's some videos here,
that's exactly it. There it is. Yeah, the plastic lace was a lot like what I'm talking
and you
about.
would make like keychains and shit with it.
Yes, all those designs and stuff. That yeah, that was a craft that I think was a real kind of fad
Sure,
for a while.
sure.
I remember it existing when I was in probably like late elementary school slash maybe early middle school.
Mm-hmm.
People were super into this. I'm just remembering it now. I totally forgot about it until now.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, like that was one of
Yeah.
those easy ones. I did. Did you ever do any like string and bead activities where you would string beads together into shapes and stuff?
Um. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was totally a like a summer camp kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Or what was the one where you would arrange the plastic beads and then iron it and they would melt into a shape and you get like a hard plastic decorative art?
That's interesting. Never heard of that. That reminds me of spin art.
I would. Oh, spin
Remember
art,
spin art?
sure. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, spin art. Yeah, yeah. Or like
Makes me think of spin
the
art.
sand art where you would put the different colored sand in the bottles.
Yeah.
You ever done that? They had all kind of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff like that
No,
for
sand art.
kids.
Yeah. That was a big thing at birthdays.
Oh yeah. Well, because it's
Spin
easy to
art was
do.
too, I think. Yeah, a lot of little birthday activities. Gosh,
Well, now we're
kids,
getting outside arts
kids'
and
birthdays.
Did you ever do
So
creepy crawlers?
no, but I heard I saw I remember the commercials for them.
Creepy crawlers were very lame.
Were they?
Because all you would do is you would take these little plastic colored or multicolored plastic in these squeeze bottles, squeeze them into like trays with shapes of insects, and then in like an easy bake oven, it would harden up the plastic, and you would get these little like rubber insects.
So there was really no real payoff. The payoff
Not
was
really.
like making your own
Well,
toy.
it's kind of like, does anyone look forward to eating what comes out of an easy bake oven? I don't think so. It was kind
No.
of the same idea.
And I love that the Easy Bake Oven. It was just a light bulb. It was just a really
It wasn't
light
even a
bulb
big
that
light.
got really hot.
If I remember correctly, it was like a 60-watt bulb. It wasn't even like a
No,
like a big one.
no, it was a tiny light bulb. Yeah, and somebody built a whole little kid's oven around it. Genius when you think about it, because it was the hottest toy for most of that decade, or the early part of that decade. But um, yeah, before we had phones and computers, lanyard was the shit.
Yeah, I remember.
And so was spin art, and
Did you
so
ever
was
did you ever
crawl.
do latch hook?
No, no, I didn't even really do lanyard. Again, I didn't have the patience for these
Yeah.
things. But
My mom is a big arts and crafts lady. She still cross stitches to this day. So we had a lot of
oh,
this stuff floating around the house when I was a kid.
we should have brought her in on this show,
I
Sean. You should have had
tried.
her as a caller.
And believe it
That
or
would
not,
be
Matt,
great.
she actually stayed. I had to pick her up at the airport. She stayed overnight at my house last Thursday.
Oh man.
And I said we were because our original plan was to do this last week, and I said,
Yeah.
come on the show, and she said absolutely not. She would not do it.
Oh
She would not.
man.
And I said, you can
Okay.
explain to us what cross stitch is, and she
Yeah.
she makes baby blankets that she cross
Oh,
stitch. She
nice.
spends hours and hours, just a ton of time working on these beautiful baby blankets.
That's cool.
No dice.
That's
Grandma, my
yeah.
grandma Flo,
That
she
would have been
knits.
awesome.
I could have had her call in.
That would have been yeah. They definitely know a lot more. I've never knitted anything at all. I've like I was lost until I had to look things up. That was a missed opportunity. You should have bribed them with a free mug or something.
Not gonna do it. They don't even know the show exists. They don't even watch the show, so I don't think they'd even know what they were in for.
That's fair.
But I mean, this show, Matt, is kind of our art and craft
Oh yeah, yeah.
in a way.
I'm not good at regular arts and crafts either, so that makes sense. It fits right in the category. Um, yeah, the cross stitch and all that stuff that looks really neat. I've heard it's very expensive, and I believe it.
Those I do know that specifically for cross stitch, some of it because you buy a kit essentially is how most of the time you do it, and it's got the pattern and it comes with all the thread and stuff you need. Those kits can run upwards anywhere from on the lowest end, maybe like 20 or $30, but most of them you're paying a minimum of 70, and some are even over 100. So, and that's for one.
Yeah,
So it's not a cheap hobby. But it's also real fine. I mean, that's the difference with some of these hobbies, Matt, is that some of them are very fine hobbies, and some like cross stitch. I mean, you're talking little needles and these little patterns you gotta follow. Knitting is kind of bigger. You get the big knitting hooks, and it's painting is kind of a big. Some of them require real precision,
sure.
like paper craft, for example, which we haven't talked about, but the art of cutting paper into various shapes and art displays.
Oh, right, origami as well.
Origami. That's a
another
great
thing.
art and craft. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Uh, and that's also should be a relatively inexpensive one. I mean, you can take anything and make it into origami. You can take scrap paper that you've been working on and that you no longer need can be turned into beautiful art.
That's where art is all around us, Matt.
It's all around as long as you know what to look for, I guess.
Butterflies in the sky. I can fly twice as high.
What? Excuse me?
I was that
Are
was,
we in a musical? I wasn't aware.
no. Do you know what I was singing there?
No.
Take a
Is that
look.
Miss?
It's in a book. Reading
Reading
Rainbow.
Rainbow. Ah,
Reading Rainbow. Okay.
yes.
No more singing.
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Gosh, what's LeVar Burton up to these days?
He's just being friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
They relaunched
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow. Yeah, that was a big Kickstarter a couple years ago.
They did.
But I don't think he's still acting or anything. Oh, maybe he's directed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's got a podcast.
Oh, okay. Is it the Reading Rainbow podcast?
It's called Levar Burton Reads, and in each episode he reads a short story.
Oh,
That sounds nice.
that's cool.
Yeah, but no, he's not. He needs to be in more stuff.
Agreed.
He directed
Matter of
3
fact,
episodes of NCIS New Orleans last year.
yeah. Okay. I mean, they have the live action Aladdin is coming out pretty soon, right?
Yes.
Did you see the trailer for it?
No.
So they got Will Smith to play the genie. I don't know what this has to do with LeVar Burton, but
Nothing. But keep going.
at first I was thinking they can get LeVar Burton to play the genie, but could you imagine? I had this conversation with a coworker today. Can you imagine if instead of Will Smith, they cast? Can you imagine if instead of Will Smith to play the genie in Aladdin, they decided to cast Christopher Walken?
That wouldn't make any sense.
How awesome would that be? Christopher Walken as the genie in Aladdin.
That I couldn't. My brain literally can't put the pieces together to form that puzzle.
Aladdin, it's me, the genie in the lamp. That's my best Christopher Walken.
That's gross. That's terrible. Don't do that.
Aladdin. I got a fever, Aladdin.
Oh my god.
I need more cowbell.
You better quit while you're ahead, buddy. Holy moly, that's
Quit while I'm behind, you
That's
mean?
something else. I gotta, Matt. We won't do it on the show, but I am gonna put a link in Slack that has to do with Will Smith and Aladdin, and you gotta promise me you're gonna watch this because it's
I
very,
promise.
very fun. Okay, it's very funny. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, LeVar Burton. No,
Mhm.
I don't. We kind of. He's won both a Grammy and an Emmy. He won a lot of Emmys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Emmys. So.
10, yeah. He's an excellent actor.
Oh, he's the man.
He is.
He's
He
the man.
is the man.
Man, should I watch Star Trek?
Yes. Yes. Is there
'Cause I
even a
haven't.
question?
I haven't before.
You
I've
should
never
watch
seen any
Star
of it.
Trek. Sean, you should absolutely watch Star Trek. I always recommend that people start with the original series and go from there. But
Is the original
I
series?
think
It seems really crappy.
I was gonna say in your case, I think that might turn you off immediately. So I recommend that you start with TNG. Sean, I would love to put together for you a list of episodes that you should watch, because the thing with TNG is that it's non-linear for the most part. Like you can pick it up
standalone
anywhere.
episodes, yeah.
Standalone episodes. I would recommend probably starting with the first episode,
Yeah.
Journey to Farpoint, and go from there, just because that really does kind of set up the crew and the characters really well. But then it's pretty much a free, like a choose your own storybook, like choose your own adventure. I would I would absolutely love to put together the best episodes, because that show is just so special.
Are you a
and
giant
so
fan
amazing.
of it?
I am. I actually would say I'm a huge fan of TNG specifically. I liked the original series too, but in a different way. I think I appreciate what the original series did for the genre more than I really enjoy the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also appreciate how for the time it was probably an amazing show with amazing effects, and also it was entirely a product of its time. It talked about issues in the 60s, and was a very helpful allegory, I think, for things like the Cold War and the Vietnam War and stuff, and civil rights. But TNG is just a triumph of humanity.
So, Matt, we can talk about this later when we're not on the show. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe, because there's a lot of Star Trek podcasts out there. We don't want to compete with them, but maybe in our second closer look kind of multi-part series after our next one, which we'll announce at the end of the show, maybe we should do a deeper look at TNG and maybe do like an episode per season.
Yeah.
Where we watch, the first episode of season 1, and we talk about our favorite episodes and our least favorite episodes from each season.
You know, this is perfect, because I was thinking of doing a rewatch of the whole series. It's been a couple years since I've encountered, since I finished the whole show, and yeah, I was actually thinking of coming back to it.
We're gonna
this works
back
out.
on this.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's revisit it for sure.
All right. Fair enough. Now, and anything else on arts and crafts, Matt?
Not really. I think that's basically all I had. Arts and crafts are cool because I always picture the people that excel in arts and crafts are probably people that you'd want to keep around if the world were to end as we know it. Like if society were to collapse, the people that are really good at arts and crafts are probably going to be the ones that kind of rebuild society, right?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, I think that they would have a role to play, certainly, but I think I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say they're the only ones that are. I think we everybody has their own place, but
again, it depends on how you. I narrowly define an art and a craft. The people I define as arts and crafts people, no, probably not. If you broaden it a little bit, guys who work on machines are not doing arts and crafts. Those are the guys the the someone who cross stitches. No offense to cross stitchers out there. I'm sure you're very well handled, but I don't really know what sort of relevant skills are being brought to the table, if I'm being honest.
Well, I would just mean like, if you're looking for somebody who can make a blanket, right? Like they could stitch a blanket out of wool. These are the kind of people that I'd want to have around me.
Do you think in an apocalyptic
So
situation there's going to be the materials to knit a blanket?
Yeah, you could probably harvest them and scrounge them.
Scrounge yarn?
Yeah, like find it. I'm talking about like a Fallout nuclear kind of end of world situation, not like the ground opened up and swallows people whole kind of situation. Like I'm just saying. I would keep the crafters around.
Okay, I agree, Matt. We should not throw the crafters to the wolves.
No, they're the ones that I would want to have around. I think
this is like an Oregon Trail game setup where you're like, who are you going to travel in your pack with? And you're like, I choose the arts and crafters. Oh, you died. Oh, no.
I mean, obviously you'd want like doctors and medical people there too.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a place for the crafters, because I think I would like to have nice clothes and warm blankets and they'd be able to fix anything if your clothes got torn or something like that, right? They'd be able to stitch them back together, which is, I think, a great skill to have. You see what I'm saying?
I do, but Matt, I would go even broader and say, I think the arts are important. I think arts and crafts are important. I think they stimulate people's imaginations. I think that they develop a sense of hand-eye coordination. I think that overall they are a valuable part of the human experience.
Agreed.
And you would probably also agree that every other sort of who needs math? Who needs science when we have arts and crafts, right, Matt? Get rid of them. Get rid of. We don't modern technology. Matt. You've said it before. You want to go back to the Amish. You want to make your own clothes and harvest your own milk, and live as the people did in the old country. And you know what, Matt? I may not agree with your controversial position, but I support your right to have it. So,
okay. I'm glad thank you for supporting me on wanting to be Amish, wanting to go back to Amish times.
Yep. You've said to me electricity is the devil's work.
Yes.
You said those exact words.
I have much evidence to prove that theory. So
that's why you have that stand-up candle behind you.
Right. That's why I'm not actually on a computer right now. I'm speaking to you via devil's magic.
You could just again, this is me imagining Matt's life, but Matt is just like talking at a drawing of me on a piece of paper taped to the wall. Well, that's right, Sean. I agree. Like, Matt, are you okay?
That's right. You're just like taped to a mirror and
yep.
Candle underneath it.
I call it Skype.
Yeah.
Not good. Now, Matt, we're wrapping up here. Another great episode in the can. We probably spent about 10 minutes talking about arts and crafts and a lot of time talking about everything else.
That's okay. I think that's all we...
That's most of our episodes.
We did what needed to be done.
Matt, we get to tease what could quite possibly become the biggest event in Up for Debate history.
The biggest event.
Get psyched, because starting... Matt, this was your idea, right? You came to the table and said, every week, we spend an hour covering a big topic. Breakfast, the fall, dogs and cats, whatever you spend a whole hour doing, it's too broad of a time. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to cover these topics. We should pick something and go in depth, deep. Like all these, like Serial, like all these big podcasts are doing now, right? Where they do a multi-part episode on a single topic. Matt, we have decided to roll ahead with this. Are you excited to announce the first topic for our in-depth miniseries?
Yes. Let's unveil it. Let's pull back the curtain.
Ladies and gentlemen, beginning next week will be the first part in what is tentatively planned to be a 5-part series where we go in-depth on one of the most infamous yet short-lived sporting entertainment experiences in American history. When you combine the two powerhouses of the WWF's Vince McMahon and NBC legend Dick Ebersol, throw $100 million in there, and you get 8 teams who go head-to-head to win the $1 million championship. We're, of course, talking about, Matt,
the XFL.
That's right, Matt. The XFL, in a series tentatively titled, subject to change, Up for Debate presents The X Stands for Nothing, the unbelievable true story of the XFL.
Should be a good one.
We're going very
I'm looking
in-depth.
forward to it. Yeah, we're going to do I guess, as Sean said, we're going to do a kind of an in-depth discussion on the founding and the highs and the lowest lows of the XFL, the NFL rival that was never to be.
Yep. Very, very short-lived. And Matt, I want to let everybody know, if you're as excited as we are about this topic, you can do a little bit of homework. I will say most of our research is based on the book Long Bomb by Brett Forrest, and you can check out the 30 for 30 documentary, This is the XFL, both of which I would consider must-watch and must-read if you're interested in the topic. And we'll be taking all the information we gleaned from there. And the best part is, I'm going to try, no promises, I'm going to try to integrate multimedia content, Matt. So as you're listening to us talk about it, we're actually going to play the audio from the press conferences, from the games, from the commercials, from the documentary, where appropriate. So you get a real feel of the story of the XFL, because it really is a hell of a story.
Yeah. I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying the book. I'm almost done with it, The Long Bomb, and it's very well written. I'm excited to talk more about it next week, but tons of anecdotes and narrative that keeps the story going. I definitely recommend tuning in. If you've never heard anything we've done on this show before, take my word for it. I think this is going to be a good one.
Now, Matt, maybe we can tease just a smidge, by me asking you, who's your favorite XFL team? You got 8 to choose from.
Okay, so immediately off the bat, I would probably say the New York, New Jersey Hitmen, but after reading the book, I have a special feeling for the Vegas Outlaws, because they're kind of the protagonists. I mean,
yeah, they're very heavily focused.
If there is if there is a team that they focus on and really follow through their entire like XFL journey, it's probably them and the players there. But then again, if we're talking on based on logos alone,
yeah,
I gotta say that there's some really far out stuff. I gotta say I probably like the helmet and style of the Memphis Maniacs. They've got a really unique and cool looking uniforms, but.
Yeah, I think my favorite would be the Memphis Maniacs. I think that's the best name. The Maniacs with an X at the end, of course. And their nickname was intended to be the Axe, which I think is a hoot. But I will say, I think my favorite mascot like logo has to be the Orlando Rage, who just has this very angry man as their mascot. But we'll have 8 teams to talk about. And it'll be great. So make sure you tune in to Up for Debate next week to begin that fun adventure alongside us. We hope you enjoyed as much as we will have making it. I will let everyone know, if you want to get it in your feed, the best way to get it is just subscribe to the show, because then the shows just pop in your feed like magic. Boom, you wake up, oh, holy shit, there's a new episode of Up for Debate. How great is that? You can do it anywhere you get podcasts now. Overcast, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. We're now on Spotify, which is very exciting. Really, anywhere you get it, we're there. You can also get the video version on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. You can go to our website, upfordebate.tv, get all of our past episodes, get caught up. Our last 2 episodes were both on our movie league, which is great. You can listen to those or listen to our whole back catalog. It's all there. Just click the archive button. And of course, you can follow us at Up for Debate TV on Twitter and email us upfordebatetv@gmail.com if you've got thoughts and feedback. Matt, anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up for the evening?
I just have to say that I'm currently Googling Jesse Ventura quotes on here really quick. Gosh, what an amusing guy. No, I have to say that I think that while I really wish that I had more time and energy to spend on arts and crafts,
Sure.
just because I think that would be a really relaxing, really kind of great way to channel someone's energy. I mean, another great way to channel your energy is by joining the XFL.
Yeah, maybe not a safe way to do it, but certainly an entertaining way. I mean, we're talking smash mouth football here, Matt.
Yeah.
No,
It's a smash mouth football.
no free catches. You're paid to play, but paid more to win. Okay, don't forget that.
Right. And don't forget, the defense has to play defense. The offense has to play offense.
That's
how
right.
you
No pansies here. It's not the no fun league, it's the extra fun league.
Right.
They make sure you know that.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody out there for joining us. On behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time for a Smash Mouth style episode of Up for Debate.